Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and we're continuing our exploration of some of the best rated puzzles on Logic Masters Germany. Now, last time, if memory serves, I believe we looked at, and actually I'm going to have to refresh my memory, number 10. But it wasn't truly number 10 because we had actually played number 10 in the past and we had to go around and look for something from the same constructor but of a similar rating. But, whenever I actually have to do some substitutes, it usually takes me a bit of time. So we've actually already hit number 9, and today's puzzle is number 8 on the list. I know it's confusing. I've confused myself as well. So we may as well just crack on and have a look at the puzzle itself. That's probably the best thing that we can do at this point. Now, but before I do so, I want to just explain the thumbnail, which is called Hunting Cues. And that's the actual puzzle name that we'll take a look at. Now, I don't know how you go around hunting cues, and cues here as in like cues of people, objects, or cues as in billiards. I really didn't know what was going on, but you can see Sleuth is holding a hunting rifle and going hunting. Now, clearly, after years of fighting crime, Sleuth has learned that he should wear gloves when handling the rifle, as far as I could tell. Very conniving. But anyway, let's take a look at the puzzle. So we've got Cue Hunting by, I'm going to totally butcher this name, so please, apologies in advance. Do not take offense and feel free to correct me in the comments. Dumediat. And it's got rule sets that we've never seen before. As far as I could tell, I don't think we've actually, not just on this channel, but I simply haven't seen it featured on any other Sudoku channel either. Now, I'll take you through it, but the third one, it took me a very long time to truly understand it, and thankfully the constructor even gave an example to help cement this, so we'll take a look at that as well. So let's do the obvious rule sets first. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Fairly standard, we're good with those. Then we have Thermo. Digits along thermos must increase from the bulb end. Now, Thermo here is just short for thermometer, so imagine these are thermometers that are being drawn all over the puzzle, or all over the grid, I should say. And the bulb end is essentially the lowest digit, and just like with a thermometer, as you go up the thermometer, the digits must increase. So, for example, if this is a 3, then this would have to be 4 or higher. I could obviously go all the way up to 6 or even 7, and these could be, as long as they're higher, 5, 6, 7, or 8, and these 6, 7, 8, or 9. This is a totally valid thermometer. And if you can actually start to place some of these clues, you know that this is, for example, 6 or higher, and this would be 4 or lower. So hopefully that's reasonably clear. Now, it's the next bit that I think is going to be a little bit harder to understand. Numbered thermos. So clues outside the grid, such as this 2 here or this 8, are each associated with one thermo bulb in the row/column. So this 2 would be associated with either this bulb, or this bulb, any of these that are in the row. Such that each thermo bulb is associated with one outside a clue, the solver must determine these associations. So we don't, I just pointed out that it could be associated with any of these 3. We don't actually know which one it's associated with. Let's keep going, because it will only get more interesting from here. Now, these outside clues indicate the digit that must be placed in the nth position after the bulb along its associated thermo, where n is the digit that is placed in that thermo's bulb. Now, this feels incredibly complicated, and this is where I thought, I'm not sure I can't quite wrap my mind around this. So the fact that he or she has included an example in here is immensely helpful. So imagine, you've got this 5 now. So this 5 happens to be associated with this thermo. Now, in the bulb end is a 2, which means that 2 digits along, 1, 2, you need to place that number that's associated with it, which is the 5. If you look at the 8, for example, this is associated with this thermo. In this bulb is a 3, so 1, 2, 3 digits along is an 8. And that's essentially what that rule is coming along and trying to describe. So, very fresh rule. I certainly have not seen this before. But if you're up for hunting for some cues, I'm assuming that's kind of a reference to the thermos here. But, hunting thermometers, who does that? Well, link will be in the description down below as usual if you want to play along and hunt these thermometers. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how I get on. And I'll be honest with you, I rarely do well with rules I've not seen before. You see, what I'm trying to see is, are there any unique associations? I'm so tempted to say the answer to that is no. So I may actually have to do, let me think about this. So let's do some fairly obvious housekeeping items. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits around the grid. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 thermometers. So we know every one of these outside digits is definitely associated with one and only one of these thermometers. Every thermometer is associated with one. We just have to figure out which one it is. Now, I think the other thing that is, if I think about this, a 2, for example, is actually immensely restrictive. So let's think about this 2 for a second. Now, if I put the 2, how am I going to do this? I'm going to use some coloring, actually. So imagine, what's the best way to do this? Because I can't actually color these grids. So what I'm going to try and do is maybe color with X's. Yeah, that might work. So purple, blue, green, yellow. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm going to stick with it. I've already committed. Gray. So I'm going to try and use these colors to associate the thermometers. So let's assume that this is associated with the 2, the purple here. Now, I'm fairly sure if I put a 2 in here, I've broken the puzzle. Because what this is saying is 2 down, 1, 2, is this duplicated 2. I mean, forget the fact that it's duplicated because of this cell here. But what it's saying is this 2 is 1, 2 along to get to the next 2. How are you going to fill these? This is a 1, this is a 0. So you can see it's definitely not in the bulb end. And I think definitely as a result, this is not a 2. So I think the only way these would work is if, for a 2 at least, if this is a 1, saying the next digit along is a 2. So that would be totally valid. And therefore, this thermometer could be purple. I mean, this thermometer also sees this 6. So I have no reason why it couldn't also be the 6. This one, helpfully, can't be the 2, because if I put a 1 in here, that's saying this is a 2, duplicating the 2 in the box. So this is at least not associated with this purple. This thermometer, though, could be, I assume that could be a 1, that could be a 2. No problems with any of that. So unfortunately, that's another purple. The 6, I assume, will also be fine. Because, I'm not placing the 6 in the bulb. And any of these could be a 6. Even this one, even the last one. But actually, here's something that's a lot more interesting. Sorry, I'm just going to finish coloring this thermometer. Although, actually, I'm going to ignore this thermometer for a second and just point at something else, because every thermometer is associated with one of these digits. Every single one of these bulbs is pointing towards a digit somewhere on the thermo. So the starting bulb can't be that big for short thermometers. So if you take a look at this bulb, for example, it can only be 1 digit away, 2 digits away, or 3 digits away. It's actually quite a short list. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to go around and do that. I don't know how helpful this will be. So if you are a 4-cell thermo, so essentially it's one less than the length of the thermo. So that's also 1, 2, 3. Also 1, 2, 3. That's quite helpful. This is also 1, 2, 3. Also 1, 2, 3. This is only 1 or 2. 1 or 2. This is 1, 2, or 3. This can't be 1, 2, or 3. So it's, well, I think 4, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, well, here, 5 minutes in, finally, a digit. Goodness gracious. Right, we've almost pencil marked all the bulbs. So this is 1, 2, or 3 as well. Okay. Now I think we do need to go back to coloring, and maybe I should start with this one given we already placed it. So this can be seen by the 9 and the 8. So this is either orange or whatever that color is, dark gray. And it's saying 1, 2, 3, 4. This is either 8 or 9. Now, I don't think it can be an 8 because 5, 6, and notice the 7 in here is very telling. So 5, 6, 8, 9 is the only way we can complete this. So 5, 6, 7, no, not 7, sorry, 8, and 9 is the only way we can complete this. This is the orange thermo for that 9, and we've just finished the 9. I don't know how I'm going to sort of indicate that this is now complete. I don't really know, but I think the fact that I've already got one cell, maybe that tells me the orange is done. So maybe we should carry on coloring actually. The possibilities. It might not be a bad idea actually. Let's think. This one is seen by 3 of them. It's seen by green, by red, and dark gray. This is seen by blue, here the 8, and the dark gray. This is seen by the purple, the light gray, and the dark gray. This is seen, we said it can't be purple because it would put a 2 somewhere in this box with this 2. So this is either light gray or black, black or blue. This is if we're ordering a steak here. Actually, no. This yellow sees all of these. That's unfortunate. Yeah. And yes again. So this is actually more complicated than I wanted. What about this cell? This is only green or red. Not sure if I've really helped myself at all in any of this. So let's do something. So one of these is a 2 because it'll have a 1 in here pointing towards a 2 that's next to it. And I've got a 1, 2, 3 triplet. This was never a 2. That's the 2. That's the 1. That's purple, as is this. That's not purple. This is now gray. Nothing else sees it. So that's actually pointing towards a 6, which is either 1 or 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. So one of these is a 6. This is now not grey. Well, not light grey. Still could be black. One of these is my grey 6. This is getting quite interesting. That's not a 1 either. So it's either yellow, an 8, or black, a 3. If that's 2, it's saying, here, let me show you. If that's 2, it's saying 1, 2 away is a digit, which is either an 8 or a 3. Can't be a 3. Because what digit would you put in between it? So this can't be the 3. Obviously, if you put the 3 inside it, we've broken it, because we'd have a 3 all the way here, a 3 at the bulb, which is total nonsense. So this is not black, this is yellow. And yellow has to occur in here. Yellow is an 8. That's 8. That's 9. Excuse me. Made a mistake there. That's not the yellow for sure. We've got 2 or 3. Place purple. We've placed yellow. Therefore, this is not yellow. Neither is this one. There is an 8 in here. That's grey. Grey is the 6. So one of these is a 6. 3 was actually quite restrictive. I did say the low digits are restrictive. And it was restrictive because we couldn't use a 1. Now, if I use a 1 in here, now where am I going with this? This 3, presumably nothing says this was black all along. Don't know how I missed this. It was 4 colors. So if this is 3, we have the same problem. You see, if I make it a 1, I'm adding a 3 in here, breaking the fact that now I have 4 cells that include 1, 2, and 3. If I use a 2, it means I've got the 3 down here. Aside from the fact that I'm using 4 cells with a 3, I have a cell in the middle that's 2.5, 2, 3, and something in between them. So this can't be black either. This is black. That's incredible. And therefore, one of these cells is a 3, meaning this is not a 3. And we're left with only blue that can see this. We've covered yellow, we've covered black. This is blue. Blue is an 8. One of these is an 8. It's clearly not here, because then I would have 9 and 10. So that's not a 1. That is the 1. That's the 3. One of these is an 8. One of these could be an 8. This is not the 8. We've got it already. That's the 8. That's the 3. That's the 2. This is the 8. Wow. We've got only one digit that can fit in here now, the 9. Blue was looking at this cell, and we've already placed blue. We've already placed the 1. So that's 2. That's 3. Now, we said there were only a handful of colors. We've already placed orange. We've already placed blue. And this is dark gray. So this is saying this is an 8 now for the dark gray. This is a 3, meaning that's the 6. That's not the 6. And this can now only be 4 and 5 to fit between the 3 and 6 bulb ends. We only have a handful of places left, haven't we? So this is not 1. This is a 2. We've already placed all the grays, all the different shades of gray, dark gray, well, black, medium gray, light gray. So this is not that. This is either green or blue, sorry, green or red. Now red is an 8, meaning this would be an 8 if that was the red, or 1, 2, well, which it can't be because of the row. So this is not red, this is green, therefore that's a 7. That was the green. That's not green, that's the red. 1, 2, 3. That's the 8, and that's the red. Wow. Really didn't think this was going to be that easy to resolve, if you can describe what we just went through as easy at all. And I think basically we're left with nothing but just standard Sudoku at this point to basically complete the puzzle, which I think we can do. Feels very sparse, but achievable. Feels very sparse. Actually, I'm better off just... What do I need to place in here? 5, 6, 8, 9, is it? That's clearly not an 8 nor a 9. That's the 6. Well, 6 in the box. That was never going to be the 6. That's 8 or 9. What do we need in here? We need 1 and 2 by the looks of things. So that's a 1-2 pair. We need a maximum of 7. I guess that would be the maximum. And this is 4 or 5. This is 5 or 6. Not 6 because that's in the row and the column. That's not 6 either. Actually, we've got 7 in the box. Just not paying attention. And we need 1, 3, and 9 by the looks of things, I'm going to say. Which means that's the 2, that's the 1. That's not 3, that's not 9. We can pencil mark what this is. I mean, I can do better. I can actually place a 2 in here now. I've got 7 and 3. That's the 3, that's the 7. I need 4 and 5 by the looks of things. 4 and 5 we can place. I need 6 and 9. That's the 9, that's the 6. I mean, this Thermo is not very helpful, because I've kind of placed all the lower digits. Where else should I be looking now? After the 7 is either an 8 or a 9. We've already got an 8 in that box, and row and column. So it can only be a 9. That places these digits. 3s can only be placed now and here in box 5. I've only got 2 cells to complete in here. It's a 7 and 4. And shockingly, I can't resolve. Where can 1 go in this box? It's not here. It's not in the middle of a Thermo. It can only be in here. We need 4, 7, and 6 by the looks of things. So that's the other 4, 7, because we've got a 6 looking at this cell. That's the 6. That's the 7 on the Thermo. Only kind of 6 and 8. Clearly needs to be a 7. I think 4s and 7s both work in here. May as well finish some of these Thermos. Actually, some of them are more restricted than you may think. So the 3, the next digit along is either a 4, which is not available. 5 is the minimum. 6 not available. 7 is not. I say why, because if it's a 7, that's either 8 or 9, where we have both of these being seen. That can only be a 5. That's the minimum and indeed the maximum. And here is either a 6 or a 7. We've got a 7 in the box. 6 is the only digit available. These are not ones, these are not ones. That's the 1. We need 4 and 9. That can't be the 9. That's the 9. We have 2 cells to complete in this column. Is that 5 and 7? Yep, that's the 7. That's the 5. That's the 2. Don't have many to complete in here, whatever these are. So that's 1, 5, 9 it seems. That's not 9 or 5, that's the 1. Neither of these is the 1. Where can 1 go in this box? That's the only place that's left. 5 and 9, 5 and 9. Should be able to place this one. That's a 6. This is 4 or 7 again. Interesting that we have these bunches of 4s and 7s are unresolved. Have we basically done all the thermos? Not quite. That's an obvious 9 versus a 5. We're not going to do 5 after the 6. That's the 8. That's the 9. And yeah, that is very much now pure Sudoku at this point. So 6 and 5. What do we have in here? 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that 7, 8, 9? That's the 7 because we've got an 8, 9 already in the column. That's the 9. That's the 8. We need 2, 3, 4 by the looks of things. That's the 2, 3, and the 4. 4s and 7s. Yep, finally resolved. 4, 7, 4, 7. Home stretch now. 1, 3 is up here. 4 in there. 5 can only be in here. We need 7 and 8. That's the 7. If I've not made any mistakes, that's the solution. Absolutely incredible puzzle. A solve count of only 40. Well, I'm glad I'm featuring it because that's an incredible puzzle. I mean, once you understand the rule sets, it is an incredible puzzle. You just need to sort of, and then systematically work your way through the options, color code them, I guess, or however system, whatever system you're using, to keep track of which thermos have been placed. But I really do hope we see this return again. So, you know, a huge thank you to the constructor, dumediat. And I hope you enjoyed today's video, and see you back for the next one. Bye for now.